I feel like we're at the teetering point. And I feel like everything we do right now is absolutely imperative for the future of all our grandchildren and my children. There's just no way they can do this without causing a lot of damage.
The Mountain Valley Pipeline crosses Appalachia landscapes. It crosses steep slopes, deep valleys, many streams.
The Mountain Valley Pipeline is a 303-mile-long methane pipeline expected to push gas from northern West Virginia down into southern Virginia and then possibly into North Carolina.
It actually impacts the Appalachian Trail for over 100 miles. No other project has ever done that or even attempted to do that.
The Mountain Valley Pipeline is disastrous for our entire planet, especially in an accelerating climate crisis.
You've got to produce your way out of this. You can't sit back and wait your way out of it.
So you're going to open pipelines?
Absolutely. We're going to build pipelines. We're going to do more drilling.
How are you going to sell that to the President of the United States, who on day one
it's already been sold
flipped the
and
switch?
bought. It's already been. It's part of the deal.
You can see the pipes that they've left along the route. They haven't put them in the ground yet, but they're ready.
It's really hard to see it in person and see the clear-cut scar through the trees.
When this project was first proposed, I wasn't sure whether I was for it or against it. I wanted to find out about it, so I allowed them to survey. And it dawned on me pretty quickly after the first day, they were feeding me a line of bull. And that bull is, you'll never see it, it won't harm anything. So I decided this was not a good thing to happen to our community.
The audacity of them to think that this can be safely bored under. This feeds Roanoke, Spring Hollow Reservoir, that's just less than a half a mile down this road. That's their drinking water. So if this gets fucked up, there's gonna be a lot of other people who are gonna be without water. I have never considered myself a climate activist. I am a cleaning lady. I've been cleaning houses for over 20 years. I had no idea about the Mountain Valley Pipeline. Just one day, me and my son were driving to Roanoke, and I'm like, what is that coming off the edge of the mountain? Why is all those trees cut? And then just looked around a little bit more, and I'm like, oh my God, that's the pipeline? I think I just seen it and was just mad, I can't believe this is actually happening.
Initially, what Mountain Valley Pipeline did was convince high-profile politicians, decision makers to get on board with the project early. Then they state their case to the federal agencies like the Federal Energy Regulatory Commission. FERC takes a look at that, determines there's a public need. Over public objection, signs off on the project, and that sets off the awful, terrible process of seizing farms, seizing land, seizing commons like the national forests, and building the project again over the objections of people who live here.
The Mountain Valley Pipeline is an abomination. It's flies in the face of common sense to think that you could put this massive 42-inch pipe up the steepest slopes in the eastern US, to put it through seismic zones where there are what we would commonly call landslides. It's foolish. The Biden administration could tell these agencies to stand down, to do right by climate, turn down the permits, and comply with the Clean Water Act. And the Biden administration has chosen not to do so. So it's going to remain in the hands of the courts, but also the people standing up to power.
Just wanted all of us gathered here to see firsthand what one of these lay-down yards and work sites looks like. There's no work happening here today. That's our goal, is to make sure that that doesn't resume, that this project is never finished.
I think what connected me to the fight against Mountain Valley Pipeline immediately was the call from my local community to stand up.
I've written many reports to the Department of Environmental Protection. I think it's some kind of a record. I've written 237. I don't think anybody's ever written more than 5.
I've gone to board meetings, I've listened in on court hearings, I even stayed in a tree for a weekend. So we're coming up on the tree sits, the fallen trees. We'll be right here. This is one of the tree sits. Tree sit protest is a blockade where the goal is to stop them from excavating that area, from trying to trench there, trying to lay that pipe there. So that pine tree right there is where I got to spend 3 days and 2 nights. Going up in the tree was just one of the hardest things that I've ever done, physically and mentally. I was hoping that would ignite a lot of other people like me in the community to be like, oh yeah, we can do something. This was the last bit of trees standing on this 303 miles. So this was pretty significant when they cut this down. This was like a big blow.
Our legal system can move so slowly. And so the fact that tree sitters blocked construction meant that the courts could actually catch up and rule against Mountain Valley Pipeline, reject their permit to cross the Jefferson National Forest. The fact that people were living in trees and on poles in the Jefferson National Forest protected that forest until the courts could catch up.
I wanted to take an opportunity first to thank everyone who is here today. It's so important for us to all see each other in the same space as we do this important and incredible work, not just protecting the Appalachian Trail, but the communities who live along here.
We've been resisting this project roughly 8 years. There have hundreds of stream crossings remaining, so they're nowhere near completion, and the desperation to get it finished as an outmoded, outdated, unnecessary, climate-wrecking fossil fuel project, I think it really just keeps people fired up.
New tonight, Democratic Senators Joe Manchin and Chuck Schumer announcing a deal.
There appears to be a breakthrough on President Biden's economic agenda.
This is a major piece of legislation that they say would pay down the national debt, cut health care costs, fight climate change, and battle inflation.
It is the product of secret negotiations over a package that until yesterday appeared to be dead.
We're going to take you now to Washington. President Biden about to sign the Inflation Reduction Act into law.
Joe Manchin, who I have called a friend for years, a friend I've disagreed with often, has just betrayed hundreds of people in West Virginia.
I am so mad about this. MVP was almost dead. They were on their last leg, and then here this happens, and it has pissed a lot of people off. I had to show up here today because we need them to know that people on the front lines, people in Appalachia give a damn, and we need to be given a damn about.
Americans often imagine this region as complacent, even fatalistic, but that's absolutely not the case. There is a strong history of resistance in Appalachia and a really proud history of fighting for each other and fighting for the land.
I'm Russell Chisholm. I live on the front lines of the fight to stop MVP. I traveled here today from my home in Appalachia to welcome you to join from frontline community to frontline community to grow this movement and make ourselves heard. We say, let us live and let us thrive.
There is just something about these mountains, the way that they shelter our communities, the way they provide fresh water. And it's the cleanest water that I've ever experienced anywhere that I've lived. I will protect this with everything I have.
This dirty side deal is not just a dirty side deal, it's a deadly side deal. And if this happens, we're in big trouble, people, and we cannot let it happen. Stop this side deal for our kids and our grandkids, and thank you for being here, because you are what makes it possible.
I hope that a lot of folks here that make decisions on our behalf will see the opposition to this and not sign off on this dirty deal.
We will not allow Manchin or Schumer or anybody else sacrifice Appalachia or anywhere else to fossil fuels.
This is the point where everything needs to be put on the line. Everybody needs to get out of their comfort zone right now. We all have a part in this. Nothing should be balanced off of our backs.